Hi, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Pete.
And this is A Zenny Saved. What's up, everybody? Episode 6 of A Zenny Saved.
Mighty number 1.
We talk about Mighty number 9 and its lackluster reception, some Metal Slug news, Street Fighter V, Overwatch, and 2K announcing some Bioshock stuff, and others. Shall we begin?
I believe we shall. Should we start with an E3 wrap-up?
Yeah, E3 wrap-up. Nintendo steals the show with Legend of Zelda.
Somehow.
It looks amazing.
Sony was also fantastic, literally having Bear Grylls and an orchestra do the whole show.
Bear McCreary, I love you. That was so cool.
Bear McCreary. Oh, so good.
So good.
So good. Xbox did a good job this time.
Yeah.
No new Microsoft.
They fell for a bait and switch with the whole, was it the Xbox 1.5 versus the PS4 Neo thing, because Sony did not show any Neo stuff. And Xbox put a good little amount of time into their new SKUs.
They sure did.
And yeah, I think Sony did a major look leading up to E3 and then just focused on games.
Which I think worked out in their favor, just focusing on games this time.
Yeah.
It really cut down on a lot of, possible techie jargon, stuff that the average person doesn't care about. Just show us the games anyway.
Yeah.
So they did.
Because the 4K stuff is honestly a hard sell for everybody, and they're already trying to push the VR, platform, and they had a good showing with all those games, and I'm just starting to want it now. Oh God, I said I wasn't gonna, and they're actually bringing the goods.
It's true.
It sucks because I don't want to get it yet. It's a lot of money.
It's $400 is a very large asking price. It's still the cheapest VR headset on the market that's going to be available. But even right now, the Resident Evil 7 demo works with the VR headset.
Right.
And I have software that exists.
That supports hardware that we don't have yet.
That's amazing.
That's how committed they are right now.
That's so cool.
But Sony did a good job. Microsoft did a good job. EA and Ubisoft don't know what to do at E3 still, and Aisha Tyler's talent is being wasted with Ubisoft. So they just are not giving her a whole lot to work with.
Yeah, I think Kyle Bussman said it best, that at E3 you run into people that start to talk just like this about the newest game experience you can have only from EA on the Microsoft Xbox One.
Yeah.
And, Sony stepped away from that.
Really
Microsoft stepped away from that. Nintendo hasn't been doing that for years.
Yeah, Nintendo is just we're not... Here's a live feed of stuff.
Here's a feed of us playing video games. And we're going to be the most watched trailer out of E3 this year.
Right? We out.
So... And then, they also showed Pokemon, and people were like, Pokemon? It's in Hawaii? Ah! And yes, we all screamed, and it was beautiful.
Yeah. So, yeah, it looks like the big three console guys more or less have their act together this year. And E3 this year, I wasn't really that excited. It seemed like it was going to be a filler year, and... They really impressed us, and the big third party guys were just kind of like, how do you presentation? What is games?
I don't think there were any major surprises out of E3 this year.
No, not surprising.
There was nothing that really attacked us like surprise. We're gonna do this.
Yeah.
Even if the good hype people tried to do that,
right.
I will say I was not surprised by a Crash Bandicoot remake on the PlayStation 4. I was surprised that it's all three of the original games.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's cool. And then they immediately showed us.
And they're like, and now Skylanders. We have nothing to show from that thing we just mentioned, but it's coming. And I was like, well, okay, since you announced it, we'll forgive you.
That's cool. Thanks.
Yeah, very few, if any, surprises.
Yeah. Insomniac's Spider-Man.
That was a surprise, and I look really hyped and really excited.
I'm hyped for it, but at the same time, I'm like, so why Insomniac and not Sucker Punch?
I was thinking that later, just after the fact.
I was like, so Sucker Punch has literally made their name
in the superhero games,
making superhero games and games about a raccoon.
Before I got for a second, I had my wires crossed, thinking that was the case. I was like, oh shit, Insomniac's making a Spider-Man game. This is too hype. Oh my god. Wait a minute. Insomniac is Ratchet and Clank. Sucker Punch is the infamous games. Oh shit. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's still really cool because Insomniac makes good games, but that seems like a no-brainer to me that Sucker Punch would have been the guy she brought on. Oh well, it looked awesome.
You know, my funny thing is, I was thinking a thing. I was like, so instead of getting them, you got Sucker Punch, who do the always great Ratchet and Clank series, but they also made Fuse, and Sunset Overdrive, which most people say is just okay at best. So,
the main character is really annoying, but it seemed it would like Insomniac would have been not Insomniac. Sorry. I love y'all guys as Insomniac. But it seemed like Sucker Punch would have been a no-brainer for that. Like, their last 3 games have been building to this point.
Yeah, you would think.
As far as, pedigree or content. And it's like, I mean, fine, whatever. It looked great.
Like,
so
as long as they announce
I'm not even mad.
4 next year, we're all good.
I'm not even mad. Last Guardian...
Release date.
Guardian, right? Yeah.
Release date for Last Guardian, October.
Release date. Yes, I'm ready. Hopefully I can beat Final Fantasy 15 by then.
Well, imagine how bad you would feel if you're one of those people that's getting Dragon Quest 7 at the beginning of October, and then Final Fantasy 15 comes out at the end of October.
God.
The Dragon Quest 7 was already like 100+ hour game.
Yeah. Dude, the amount of time I sunk into Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah.
100-something hours. Like, no bullshit. And, oh my god, like, the amount of time it will take for me to get through Final Fantasy 15, if it's any good, I hope it's good. I want it to be good. This is all under the assumption that it's not a pile of shit. We'll wait and see. But, assuming it's at least, a good return to form, at least as good as Final Fantasy 10 or 12, then, man, I'm a grown man. I don't got this time. I'm not in college no more.
Square Enix thinks you'll make the time.
Yeah. I took out a shitload of vacation time to play Metal Gear Solid 5, and now I have none until August. So that's awesome.
You make good life decisions.
That was a bad life decision.
When did that game come out? September last year?
Yeah, I used a lot of time.
You worked over Christmas, didn't you?
It was great. No, we get Christmas Day off.
Oh, that's nice.
But, I mean, I work retail. You can't get days around Christmas off. Good luck with that. If you ask for anything past Thanksgiving or leading up to Thanksgiving, they just laugh at you.
Is this where I get to enrage you by saying that I have never worked 2 weeks before Christmas at GameStop for the past 10 years?
Yeah, I hate you.
Okay.
I hope you get in a car accident and survive, and then on the way home die. On the way home from the hospital, you die.
From an injury that they didn't see?
From an unrelated injury.
I'll make sure to do that. And my last words will be, Kevin was so cool.
But seriously, too many games, not enough time. I'm okay when a game gets delayed. Now I'm like, okay, fine. I'm not. I don't even get mad when
a game got delayed. Thank God. Frees up my schedule.
You can beat this game in 8 hours. Okay, awesome.
To be fair, I did not expect Mighty Number 9 to come out yet. I thought it was going to come out in September.
Right.
And it came out a week ago.
God. So, you want to talk about Mighty Number 9 now?
Oh, no, I think we're going to get into some news first to cleanse our palates.
Okay.
So, let's go into some quick news. A lot of games post E3 have been announced or delayed or magically released. let's go over some of them. So, Metal Slug Anthology was a game on the PlayStation 2,
Yeah.
which featured Metal Slugs 1 through 6 plus Metal Slug X. And yeah, it became a budget title. Like, I think it was a budget title in the first place, like $20.
Yeah, yeah.
And it dropped like $15, and it was a great deal because it's Metal
It's Metal
Slugs.
Slug.
It's all of them.
So good.
Well, great
So
news. Thanks to the PlayStation 2 Classic line on the PlayStation 4, that's coming.
Nice.
We're going to get that game with widescreen support and trophies and everything, and it'll be $20 whole dollars.
That's really nice.
That is so
Awesome.
cool. And I love Metal Slug. Who doesn't love Metal Slug?
I don't know, assholes.
Probably true.
Oh, people you can't trust don't like Metal Slug.
It's true. Getting into some competitive news, Evo's Street Fighter V tourney is going to be broadcast on ESPN2.
Oh, Street Fighter with the come up.
That
FGC
is,
with the come up.
that is amazing.
Yeah.
Considering, I mean,
This was the goal.
this was.
This was the dream. And ask anybody in the fighting game competitive community what the long game was for this, and it was to be on ESPN.
Yeah.
Be on cable TV.
And it's not like there haven't been negotiations before, because the folks at Evo have said they've tried to get streaming on TV, but then certain, like, Mortal Kombat couldn't get streamed because fatalities could happen.
Right, the graphic content.
And the graphic content was an issue. And then also, Nintendo's kind of funny about...
Nintendo's really stingy with, like, everything.
Like, this year, they're finally like, look, okay, whatever. You've got 2 Smash Brothers games playing. We'll allow it. That's cool to stream. So they're kind of a difficult company to work with in terms of getting things up. But Capcom was excited. The folks at Evo are excited. And apparently the folks at ESPN are excited. I guess esports is really becoming a thing.
Yeah, they have been slowly, like, the ESPN has slowly over the last year or two been slowly, like, starting to court the esport crowd, like, starting to slowly broadcast stuff, having mentions of highlights and stuff in their daily, like, highlight reels or whatever. Like, it was one day they were talking about some great Halo 5 or Halo 4 or whatever. Must have been 5. Some great Halo 5 multiplayer finishes or whatever. And some funny stuff that happened that pops up on YouTube. Like, they will mention that during their daily broadcast.
I am excited, and
gosh, Pete, we're going to keep rolling. Stupid phone.
It's 6 o'clock.
It'd be great if my phone started ringing now.
Hold on. Let me call it. Anyway. Now, what I'm really excited about is the potential for Overwatch to eventually start streaming, because it's a teen-rated game.
Yeah.
And which is funny because that goes right into our next issue. Overwatch competitive mode finally launched. And everyone was salty. Super salty.
Salt.
No, like, the thing is...
Sodom and Gomorrah salt.
So, like, people in the normal matches, the quick play, have just been super fun. It's been relaxed. Everybody's had a good time. You get XP even if you lose. It's the same thing in competitive mode.
Really just
only now it's about placement.
Oh.
You want to get up there, because the higher the placement you are, the more points you get. And to buy a gold weapon, it costs 300 points a character. You get 1 point for winning. And depending on where you place, that's going to get you some more. Who knows how many more? Oh, dear God. People are freaking out. I played 3 competitive matches last night. We won 1, we lost 2, and I can tell you, I was like fucking Pringles. I was like, we need communication! Constant talking, situation reps from everybody. And I was like, and then afterwards I was like, I need to just play quick play for a while.
Fuck this game.
I need to get this out of me.
It's like Street Fighter ranked matches, and I just haven't played casual for a while. I just gotta play casual.
That is exactly what I had to do.
I just gotta play casual for a minute.
So,
I'm screaming.
Yeah.
My family members are wondering, what's wrong.
I'm pretty sure that my neighbor was going to call the cops.
They think
because I was clearly dying.
People are going to start thinking there's a domestic situation.
What is wrong with you, sir? I'm so mad at my PlayStation. Just got it.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So...
Keep it casual.
Up next, let's talk about a announcement that's not a surprise because this thing has been leaked for months and months. Heck, there was even a trailer out before the official announcement for BioShock Collection for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC, which features enhanced ports of BioShock 1 and BioShock Infinite. But surprisingly, also BioShock 2, the game that nobody remembers and likes.
Yeah.
Not even the guys who made it. So
nobody asked for that. That's not even a value proposition.
Like come on. I'm sitting here and thinking about this as $60, which is like $30 for an enhanced port of BioShock 1, and $30 for an enhanced port of BioShock Infinite, which I really, really liked. And it's got all the DLC in it, so that's nice.
I'm like half and half on BioShock Infinite. I didn't really get a chance to play the first BioShock, but I know BioShock Infinite. Like, I hated the gunplay. I think it was horrible, and Kyle Bossman will back me up on this. Shout out to Kyle Bossman.
Kyle Bossman, we love
Kyle Bossman senpai. But fucking, I hate the gunplay in that game. The story is amazing, and I love it, but it was just frustrating to play a lot of times for me. But anyway, BioShock news.
Be you shirk. In other news, Zero Time Dilemma, the third game in the Zero Escape series, has finally been released on Tuesday, unless you bought the special edition.
Oh.
The special edition came with a replica of the watch that all the characters wear in the game. Unfortunately, when Atlas received all the watches, they were all damaged.
Oh, wow.
They were all totally damaged, and they were like, we can't release this as it is. Some orders from GameStop have been canceled outright, but they've set things right. Everybody's getting a copy of the game sent to them, and then they're going to send the watch later.
That's cool.
And seeing how as the special edition was $39.99, and the game regularly is $39.99.
Yeah,
that's basically them saying you pre-ordered early and fast enough, you get a free watch.
Basically. I love Atlas because they put out solid games and consistently solid games, and they try to do right by people.
Yeah, Atlas and Axis games are fantastic folks. Axis knows what's up.
Yeah,
good on you, folks.
Good luck, guys.
So a game was released on the Vita.
What?
A game was released on the Vita by Square Enix.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about, and it's not from like no series. It's from the Mana series.
What are you talking about?
Adventures of Mana has been released on the PlayStation Vita for $13.99. It's 2016, and a new game came out on the Vita from a big developer with a series that has been important to people. What even? What? What's that? What, you got a relic there?
This thing?
There's a thing for that now. You can get a thing, a new thing.
A new thing?
A thing that's never been on that thing before. A thing that's never been anywhere else before, but on that thing. That's actually not true. It's also available on iOS. It's been available for about a month on iOS. But people were like, this is out in Japan on the Vita and the iOS. Can we please get this? And then Square Enix was like, if you complain enough and let us know that you want it, and then they did. So there's a game out on the Vita, brand new, Square Enix, $14. That's something that I'm going to look into because I really enjoyed the Mana series growing up.
Yeah. Secret
Secret Mana was my jam. So we'll see. Maybe it's great. Maybe it's not. Hopefully it's worth $14. Let's also get into the last big bit of news that we have. Post E3, Sonic's 25th anniversary has finally revealed a new Sonic game from the Sonic team, confirmed for 2017. Just in time.
It's cool.
Yeah. Everyone celebrates their 26th anniversary just as big as their 25th, right?
Right.
I know that I had a huge bash for my 26th birthday and didn't do anything but cry in the basement for my 25th. So
yeah, 26 is a big number in, numerology.
I was born on my 26th. Yeah, so I heard that news and I was like, well, yeah, we all kind of knew it at this point. But more news is to come here in July.
Yeah.
At the end of July, there's going to be a celebration and apparently a teaser trailer. Let's look forward to that.
Announcing a Sonic game isn't news because it's Sega
Yeah.
and you make Sonic games. If you don't have anything to show for it, at least, then just shut your mouth.
You make Sonic games and occasionally release something different.
Yeah, mediocre Rush Sonic games, and it's what makes it worse is the ones that are almost good get scrapped, and then they reinvent the wheel every time, and it's like you
Yeah.
guys just build on the
Yeah.
last good one. That's all you got to do. You don't have to
People
start over.
people really, really like Sonic Generations. The one that they released for the
Yeah.
20th anniversary.
Yeah,
5 years ago.
yeah. And then what did they learn from that? I don't know.
Sonic Lost World happened, and that was weird.
And they
It's
rushed that
not
up
bad,
before
but
it was
it's
done.
weird. And then Sonic Boom happened, and that was the rushed one.
That was the one.
Sonic Boom is the equivalent of adding Joel Schumacher to the Batman franchise.
Yeah.
They just put nipples on everything, and it was bad. So I think that's going to do it for the news right now.
That's it for the news.
Let's talk about reviews. It's time that we got to update Street Fighter V's review.
Yeah.
Because this week, Street Fighter V Story Mode came out. And both of us have played it to completion. And I think that we both kind of have differing opinions on this.
So, we'll start with me because I kind of liked it. I thought it was pretty good. It was a free update. It's kind of funny because it's Street Fighter and the story is nonsense. And all the characters are running around in their fight costumes regardless of time or place. So that's always great. And it's something to do, which we haven't had, frankly, in Street Fighter for a few months. I feel like the user base has kind of fallen off. It's between now and I'd say March.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, more April, I guess. I was still playing it pretty heavily at that point. But, you get busy, and the game's not doing anything new, so you just kind of fall off. And then they just had nothing for May. And technically for June. This was July 1st that this update came out. So that doesn't even count Capcom as a June update. You fucked up. They did right by releasing Balrog and Ibuki for being late, so that was a good move.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun. I didn't put it down. I did want to see what happened next as far as the story. The story is not good, but it's Street Fighter and it's something to do, and the characters are kind of fun. Nobody's fleshed out that well. It assumes you are somewhat familiar with the Street Fighter characters in the first place, and it's kind of just has a thing where Bison is up to some shit, and everybody kind of rallies together to stop him. And you come across Vega and Balrog, and what's the poison dude's name?
Fang.
I call him Fang.
Yeah, but the game pronounces it Fang.
Well, fuck the game.
Because Fang.
But, yeah, so you fight Fang and, those other two guys, and you eventually fight Bison. And it was cool that they put you in the seat of some of the bad guys for certain fights because the story goes a certain way. So you fight as a bad guy who wins against a good guy in certain places. I thought that was cool. The fights are short, and they're all short one-round fights. The difficulty kind of spikes near the end, especially if you're not familiar with certain characters playing wise. Like, I had a really hard time fighting Bison as Nash because I don't fuck with Nash, and I just don't. And in the last fight you fight, it's Ryu versus Bison, and I main Ryu, so it was just like, yeah, take this Bison, you little bitch, and it was like child's play. So that was a little awkward, but that's not really necessarily the game's fault. I feel like they should have fleshed out each fight a little more, and there could have been some more fights because there's a couple of places where they tease some characters going up against each other, and it's just a cutscene that goes to another cutscene. You go somewhere else. But I had fun playing it. It's fun seeing the characters act out and do stuff and interact with each other. in some kind of context. It was cool seeing the stages from the game uh, explored a little bit. Like these are fully developed places. So like the Kanzuki Estate, you fight on that one plane in the front, but then there's that whole dining hall area, that whole ballroom area. You see the characters interacting in that space as well. Um, I'm pretty sure they updated Ken's face. Like he's not convinced yet, but
I'm not
I asked
convinced.
one other person, and I'm pretty sure I still have to confirm this, but I'm like 99% sure they fixed his face because he looked terrible, and I could not get over how terrible he looked when the game first came out. And playing the story mode, I was like, huh, Ken looks good. Like, am I going crazy, or did they fix something? Like his face is something so different about it. His hair is still dumb,
Still got
but
banana hair.
they fixed his creepy lost a fight 3 days ago face. So I'm happy about that, even if it's just my brain playing tricks on me.
And I'm pretty sure it is.
Fuck you, Pete. And but overall, I thought it was good. It's cool that it was free because if I had to pay for it, I might be a little salty. And it should,
Technically, you already paid for it.
yeah,
And you bought the game.
right. Like if I had to pay extra, um, it's it's longer than I thought it would be. I figured I'd kind of blow through it really quickly, but it's got some length to it, and that was cool. I was pleasantly surprised about that. Um, I was gonna say something else, but
By all means, if it comes up,
I'll just
please
blurt it out.
interject.
Yeah, feel free to jump in. Go ahead.
Yes, it was free. Yes, it took about 2 hours to go through.
I was gonna say, yeah, it was free. They should have put this. It should have been available on day one.
Oh, yeah.
They should have just not released the game without it.
Mm.
This should have been a day one thing. That I don't think fuck all that fighting tournament bullshit. They shouldn't have released the game without substantial single player content. So I'm not gonna back down off that point. Fuck the FGC if it means releasing an unfinished game. Yeah, this should have been February. This should have been February, March, or whatever. If we were gonna have to wait, for this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so this was free, and it was 2 or 3 hours. Street Fighter V Story Mode is the laziest story mode I have ever encountered. And, here's the thing. When they were hyping this up, people were like, so is it going to be like Mortal Kombat or Injustice's story mode? And Yoshinori Ono was like, oh yeah, that's exactly what we're going for.
Yeah.
The difference between Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter story modes, I think there's 2 notable differences. One, Mortal Kombat and Injustice's story modes have a coherent storyline. And they explain things.
Yeah.
Even if it's shit we already know, they explain it. Street Fighter does not. Street Fighter expects for you to have come in, read the textbook ahead of time, and been ready for class. I mean, it's a matter of respect at this point. You gotta know. You come into Street Fighter, you gotta know your Street Fighter.
Yeah.
They also expect you to know about Street Fighter 3.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Especially later on. I digress. So there's that. The other thing that separates the two, polish.
Mm-hmm.
Street Fighter V story is lazy. In Mortal Kombat, one of the things that they have are physics in the game. Yet in Street Fighter V, I've seen so much hair and clothes and occasionally muscles clipping through. I could have sworn I was on a fucking barbershop floor. That's how much clipping there was going on. And it drove me insane. Because it took me out of the game whenever I saw Rashid look downward and his curly-ass beard, which never moves,
just goes
into his chest. And he's like, I'm cool with this. Or when Rainbow Mika runs and her hair is just doing weird physics shit.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like popcorn in a fucking maker. And it's so lazy. They didn't animate any of the characters. They used mocap for everyone.
Yeah.
Holy shit, is it obvious?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that they used the same mocap actor for everyone because it was the same exaggerated style of movement for everyone. There was no subtlety. The translation it was clear this was pretty much a direct translation from Japanese into English. And then the voice actors were like, "Are you sure you want me to deliver it like that?" Because I find it really hard to believe that Kyle Hebert would have been like, "You really want me to deliver this line?"
Yeah.
All right,
Right.
this is the line, as awkward as it is. The part that kills me are the cock tease fights. Fights that it's clear that this isn't finished. I don't think they finished the story mode. They just said, fuck it, and released it. The moment where I was like, fuck it. Early on, you see a wrestling match. Which, by the way, did you notice that the Capcom Wrestling Federation is now Capcom Wrestling Entertainment?
That's great.
I thought that was funny. So, I was like, you did it. The other thing I liked in story mode, M. Bison says, this is delicious.
I didn't even notice that.
You didn't notice that when the generals were fighting? He was like,
okay, yeah.
all four generals are my
right
fighting. This is delicious. I was like,
I didn't even catch it. I didn't catch the joke.
You did the thing. So kudos there. You got one thing. The moment where I said, this is the whitest hot bullshit of all, is there's a wrestling match going on, and you see Axel standing in the ring, and he wins, and then they're like, the announcer for the Golden Bull Casino pops in, because, reuse your assets. All the assets from this game are reused. All of them. You'll notice that there are certain camera angles that never happen because there's no polys there.
Yeah, the assets are very green.
Like, the announcer comes up and he goes, that was an amazing match, but now we've got an exhibition match for you. Our amateur champion's going up against one of the greatest. Zangief walks up on the stage. Zangief.
Yeah.
And he's got his protege with him. Rainbow Mika! And they both get on the fucking wrestling ring, and they're, like, amping up the crowd. And then Laura busts in, steals the megaphone, and goes, this doesn't look like much of a match to me. It's 2 against 1. Why don't we make this an authentic 2-on-2 tag team match?
Yeah.
And then, like, Zangief looks confused for a second, then he immediately goes, let's do this! Yeah!
Like, yeah!
And then everybody's like, yeah! This is going to be great! And I'm like, yeah! I want to fight this fight! And then they cut away. And then the feed goes out. And then we never fight the fight! It was the single biggest cock tease moment. And I was so mad. This, by the way, is a composed version of my anger that I had when that happened. Because I was like, let me play as them! I just wanted to fight the fight, Kim.
I'm sorry.
They didn't let me fight the fight that was gonna be a good. They amped up the fight.
I know.
So needless to say, I have some mixed reactions to Street Fighter V story mode. I think it's lazy. I think that they very much hyped up the fact that it would tie heavily into, like, this is how Street Fighter V leads into Street Fighter 3. No.
They really oversold
that doesn't explain anything. Additionally, they continued the character assassination of Sean.
Right.
By having him be completely fucking useless.
Well, he just met Ken.
And he just met Ken. It is kind of interesting to see that first meeting. But you never have that moment where Sean looks at Ken and is like, you are the greatest thing ever. Let me be your student. it
Yeah, they
needed
kind of
that.
needed that. Yeah,
Instead, it was more
they
about
just missed it.
Laura
They missed
coming
the
in.
opportunity.
They missed that opportunity. And then did somebody at Capcom hate Abel?
I guess.
Because it seems like man, they sure as shit hated him because all that character does is get thrown the fuck around. In the prequel story for Guile, he gets beat the fuck up. And then in this game, he gets infected with Psycho Rage. I don't know how, don't ask. And then Zangief has to fucking suplex him.
That was great.
In yet another fight you don't get to fight.
Yeah. It's great because Zangief is during cutscenes or whatever. Abel like charges him, and it doesn't even phase Zangief.
Nothing.
Like, Zangief is OP as fuck in this whole thing. It's amazing.
To be fair, there's another scene where one of the dolls has a katana, and
he just takes it.
His pectoral muscle breaks the katana. Not like he takes his pecs and squeezes and bing. No, the one pec,
right? But it just
nothing
stuck, and then just
shattered. and apparently that was the Masamune. That was the Murasame blade.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
I'm like, did she just name her sword Murasame because she's a weeaboo, or is that the Murasame? Like,
at this point, because they were treating it like it was the Murasame.
I love we need to play this again and stream it and do a drinking game. And every time Zangief says muscle, we take 2 shots.
Well, we'd be dead.
It'll be great. We'll go out like James.
No. If we really wanted to play it, here's the real Street Fighter V drinking game. Take a shot every time there's a loading screen.
Oh, and then
you'll be dead.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of loading screens.
Here's an example of a loading screen that makes no sense. You fight as Ryu against M. Bison. Loading screen. You see Bison step back and go, ugh.
Right.
And then there's a loading screen for that.
And then that's it. That was
2
seconds.
There's more loading screens per gameplay than in Sonic 06. Which, if you've played Sonic 06, you know that's really weird.
That's a problem. They're short.
They're short.
They're short. But it's weird. It's a weird design thing because a little thing will happen and be like loading, 3-second cutscene, loading, and then considerably longer because it's like, why didn't they just attach that onto to that thing? Like, that's just weird to keep chopping up.
You know what it is?
The moments.
You know what it is? It's lazy.
Laziness.
Because Street Fighter V Story Mode is the laziest fucking thing on the face of the planet.
No, the character stories are lazier.
No, they had to draw something for that, which meant that was something new. They just reused character models for this.
They hired somebody to do 150 drawings in a week, and it just breaks my salty heart. Like,
to be fair,
they hired a really good artist to do the impossible in an absurdly short amount of time. So it's all just kind of okay.
Bengus? Is that it?
I don't know.
I think it's his name, Bengus. Yeah.
It's like, this could be really beautiful if this obviously wasn't a rush job.
My favorite of his weird drawings from that, other than all of them for Rainbow Mika's era.
Yeah.
The very last drawing that he used for Ibuki's story where she's standing next to Karen. And Karen's torso looks like Eiichiro Oda drew it, but when Eiichiro Oda's drawing Luffy. All stretched out and stuff. Because it literally looks like a stretched out torso with tits and a head on it.
I just gotta get this shit done. They never paid me on time.
Their last check bounced.
Real talk, as an artist, I know Capcom is gonna be one of those companies that always pays you late. You know they fuck around.
So now the content's out. Street Fighter V with the story mode included. Is it worth $60?
No. It's getting there.
What's the dollar value?
You almost got it. You got it better than that. I'm gonna give it a solid $40 right now, based on everything that's out.
I can't. I'd say that it's still like beforehand. I said that it was a
We
$20
we
game.
we unanimously said 15
We actually said
at our
15.
initial review.
Yeah,
That's how salty we were.
we were salty. Post salt, I'd say 20.
Yeah.
It's a $20 game. With the content, I'd say it's 30 because you still have to pay another 30 to get 6 more characters.
Yeah. You still
And that's
gotta
just
pay
characters, not
season
stages,
Yeah.
not costumes, just characters.
Yeah. You still gotta pay season pass money to get all the content that's gonna come out, or you gotta pay bit by bit the stuff you want. And there's still, with the season pass, there's still stuff that's behind another paywall, like shit that's like $4 or $5 a piece, and it's like, well, what the fuck,
Costumes and
guys?
stages are $4 and $5 each. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, like $1, $2 tops. Okay, stop playing. It should, honestly, if you buy a season pass, they should just give it to you. But standalone,
Yeah.
$4 and $5 is too much. Or you still have to grind your ass off in online mode to be able to buy any of that stuff.
And that's frustrating.
Yeah, it's really frustrating considering how fun the gameplay is, that they are just not giving us a complete package.
So you say 40.
So much stuff behind the wall. I still think with what we have right now, it's a reasonable $40 game.
You say 40. I say 30. Do we meet down the middle and say 35?
Yeah, that's cool.
$35 for Street Fighter V.
July 2nd, 2016.
May we never have to re-update this again. Fucking story.
Maybe we'll get an arcade mode sometime in the fall. Maybe. But yeah, Balrog's out and he's fun. Not Jury. Ibuki is out, and I don't know what the fuck they did.
You have to reload the kunai.
You have to
That's
reload
so
her
annoying.
knives, which is just rude. And she doesn't have her knee slide move, where she, slides in and then does the neck break move. That's gone. That's gone. That's not one of her. That's like her meat, bread, and butter move, and they took it out. I'm so mad.
They changed her so radically. I don't know why they called her Ibuki.
She doesn't really feel like Ibuki so much.
They could have just came up with any new. You know what? They could have made this a brand new character.
Yeah.
And by the way,
knows Ibuki.
Yeah. No, it's just maybe same clan, different clan. I don't care. The Kanzukis have their own ninjas. Why couldn't this just be a Kanzuki ninja?
Yeah.
Apparently, that's a thing. When you're a large enough corporation,
you can just have private ninjas.
Dude, do you think Nintendo has ninjas? Probably. Oh my god, does Sony have ninjas?
Yeah, how like nothing ever leaks out of Nintendo.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? I don't know about Sony because shit leaks out of there all the time.
Well, things are gonna leak when you're
They've gotten better.
Things are gonna leak when you're trying to put fingers in the dam.
Yeah.
When you're attached to a company that's an electronics company that's been through several downward economies.
Yeah.
But the only thing that's making money is the games division. We have to support the rest of it because otherwise it's gonna go bam.
But yeah, Balrog's fun. He has a lot of cool target combos. I might even start playing him a little bit.
I'm gonna start messing around with him. I do miss his buffalo headbutt.
Yeah, it's his V reversal now.
That said, he is fun.
He feels good.
He feels good. I like his costume.
Yeah, his
costume's good. He's good.
And his costume sucks. It's dumb.
And Balrog is dead now because he's adopted a little white boy. He's such a responsible father, teaching him new skills.
Aww.
How to bribe people and just hold out for more money.
Yeah.
That's good.
He's going to show him racketeering.
He even patted him on the head with his giant gloved hands. Which, by the way, I'm sure was like, anytime a pigeon sees Mike Tyson coming, they immediately get scared knowing they might get pet too hard.
You're hurting me. Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't mean to do that.
So new Balrog is a lot of fun.
New Balrog's fun.
New Ibuki raises a lot of questions. Why did you change what you did, and why do you deserve to live? Like that's
I
my
think there is but
questions.
one question to explain Ibuki, and that's who's responsible this.
Yeah. Who's responsible for this?
No. More rage. Who's responsible this? You can't even get out all the words due to frustration. So
gosh.
that's Street Fighter V.
All right. Yeah.
We've got one more game to talk about.
Mighty number 9. Take it away, Pete.
It's fine. Like, here's the thing about Mighty Number 9. People saw the Kickstarter, it got $4 million, and everybody saw the final product and were like, where'd the money go? When you have 30 fucking mouths to feed,
30 full-time staff.
30 full-time staff, plus marketing, your money's going to disappear real quick.
Yep.
One of the things that they did not have up until last year was a publisher. They were going to release this by themselves digitally, and then Deep Silver came in and was like, hey, we'll help you publish the game.
Yeah.
But that said, you're going to have to follow our standards, and holy shit, your game is not up to our standards. And they were like, well, we could patch it later, right? No, you're going to make sure that this is right as much as possible right from the get-go. And that's what happened last year when it was delayed. And then in February, it was delayed again.
Yeah.
That's why I said this. I was like, I feel like it's going to come out in September of this year. Nope, it came out a week ago.
Yeah. It felt like, it sounded like, based on what I saw, I watched some Let's Plays, and it was like, the voice acting of the characters is very, like, first draft, first, like, rehearsal.
I will say this about the voice acting. The voice actors themselves are great voice actors. I mean, Josh Keaton is in there.
It's not the talent; it's the writing and just the direction.
Yeah, and I will say that whoever did the text in the game needed a better proofreader. There's one character in the game that is a female that constantly gets referred to as he.
Oops.
Whoopsie doodle. And it's a character that you can play as. Oops. And the entire tutorial menus are written like that character is a male.
Oops.
Oops!
My bad.
It lacks polish again. My thing about the game is, and I've said this, people talk about visually the game doesn't look appealing.
Yeah.
First of all, it was developed for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 using an engine for those systems 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So you have to be in the mindset of what came out visually 3 years ago on those systems.
Yeah. Honestly, it looks like a Vita game. Or like the Mega Man PSP game.
Well, you know...
It's not that ugly. Like, I mean, the PSP game, it looks good for a PSP game. But I'm just saying, like, it looks like a portable game. It doesn't look like it's using any system's, powers or anything.
This is what I've been saying about the game. Visually speaking, if this game came out in 2000 on the Dreamcast,
oh man, it'd be a classic.
People would be calling this a classic.
Yeah.
People would be like, it's great, it's hard, it's got some difficulty points, but it's fine because it's a Dreamcast game.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is it's 2016. Like, it's 2016, and people definitely expected better visuals on the Xbox One and PS4.
Yeah, and they misrepresented what the final game was going to look like. They really did.
They've done that multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, when they did their first shots, it was like a special 2D sprites in the 3D background. They're like, well, it's going to be all 3D. Then the 3D from 3 years ago looks drastically different from the 3D 3 years now. Think about that sentence, though. The 3D from 3 years ago is different from the 3D now. And that makes sense. It is different. But let's get down to what matters the most about these sort of things, and that's gameplay. The Mighty Number 9 feels like Mega Man X and Mega Man 1 had a weird baby. In that the controls are as fluid as Mega Man, and the controls are tight. They aren't loose or anything. The controls are as fluid as Mega Man X, but the level design is like that from Mega Man 1. Not 2, not 3, not 6, 1. In that it's kind of basic.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the aspects of the game that is kind of cool is that when you defeat an enemy, you absorb their cells. Technically, it's spelled XEL, but I refuse to call it Zells or X cells or whatever. They're cells. So you absorb their cells, and that gives you bonus abilities. Like you can get speed boosts, you can get defense up, and the red ones, which are my favorite, allow your bullets to go through multiple enemies at once.
Nice.
The problem is the game expects you to be in complete and total control of that. The only way to absorb them is to, once they start glowing after you hit them enough, you dash into them using your dash attack. The dash attack, however, does not hurt enemies. It just absorbs them once they're able to be absorbed. And if an enemy hurts you in that process, you can be knocked out of it. So you're not invincible while doing it.
Mm-hmm.
The area where this became a problem is that there was a long hallway, Mega Man style hallway, and you had 2 enemies hanging from the ceiling, spikes, 2 enemies hanging from the ceiling, and spikes.
Mm-hmm.
If you had the red shot, which allows you to shoot through multiple enemies, no problem. You shoot, 4 or 5 shots forward,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just dash through both sets of enemies. But let's say they knocked into you and they knocked you into the spikes. Well, then you got to restart the area. There's no red enemy cells anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that you have to hit the enemy in front, dash into it, dash backwards, hit the second enemy, dash into him, and then you have to do the same thing for the enemy across the pit. And then it becomes problematic because you can't just dash back because there's spikes, and you can't dash forward because you'll knock into the enemy. And unlike Mega Man, which has invincibility, when he's blinking and lands on spikes, you blink, you land on spikes, you're dead.
Mm-mm.
It becomes a frustrating hallway, which forced me to restart the level and play it better.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what Mighty Number 9 is going for. You learn the levels, you learn the layouts, you know what powers to use when, and you play better.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, a lot of people find that super frustrating. Even I was frustrated. I was like, you stupid son of a bitch. But then I was like, no, this is not how this game is designed. I'm thinking about this like Mega Man X in terms of fluidity. It's not Mega Man X in terms of fluidity. I have to think Mega Man 1, but I also have to think about dashing in enemies to get rid of them. So, and there's bosses. You absorb their powers to use against other bosses.
Yeah.
Not a Mega Man game. The only voice acting that I hated was there. So there's Beck, the main character, the Mighty Number 9, the titular Mighty Number 9, and then he has his sister robot Call. You got Beck and Call.
Yeah, so clever.
So the thing is, Call talks like a robot. Now I know what you're thinking. They're all robots. Why are they? No. This is how she talks. All of her sentences have strange pauses and weird pronunciations of specific words and phrases.
Like Siri 1.0 or some crap.
Ugh, like pre-Siri. Like
Siri
prototype
Alpha.
Siri. Yeah,
Yeah.
Alpha Siri. And I'm like, but literally every other character, including the bosses, talk
like
people. I mean, even Steve Bloom is there talking like Steve Bloom. And I'm like, all right, Steve Bloom, I get what you're getting at. You're just being you. You need to stop it.
That's weird. That's a weird choice.
Well,
Maybe she just wanted to disguise her voice because
I
she didn't
don't-
want anyone to know.
I don't know.
Right off from listening, she was associated with the game.
I genuinely don't know. But that said, Mighty Number 9, I paid $20 for my Kickstarter copy. I got my digital copy, which had the DLC for Ray. Mighty Number 9 would be a perfect $15 game
Mm.
with all of its DLC and content included. It would be perfect. 20's pushing it, and paying 30 at retail is downright wrong.
Yeah.
That is wrong, wrong, wrong.
Wrong.
You are overcharging for what is ultimately going to go down in the pages of history as a Mega Man ripoff game.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because it could have been so much more.
It really could.
If they'd had more time and money, I'm sure that they would have done that.
If they, I don't know, it looked so promising early on. Like all the design documents just look so exciting.
They were just out of their depth on this one.
Yeah.
And I think it's the worst part about this is that it's cast a negative light on other Kickstarter projects done by really prolific game makers. Like the first thing people started saying was, well, now I'm worried about Bloodstained.
Yeah.
I want to point out the week this came out, they released the E3 demo of Bloodstained to people who backed the game at a certain level.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's what
like,
I'm hearing.
it's super great. And it's like, if you play the demo or at least look at somebody play the demo, you'll see that it's gonna be fine. Yeah. Everything's good there. A+, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think that they purposely did that to try to dissuade people to be like, no, it's really, Bloodstained is gonna be fine. Don't worry.
Game development is a tricky thing because more people and money thrown at a project isn't always the solution and people are like, well, this game had like 1 or 2 guys working on it for way less money and it's awesome. And so what the fuck happened here? You got more people and more money, but the money doesn't necessarily buy talent, and the money doesn't guarantee that the talent is going to be used properly or in the right places. So if you get the people up top are mismanaging the money and mismanaging the talent, then there's not a whole lot you can do except fire everybody and bring in a whole bunch of people who know what they're doing.
Yeah. I think the 2 biggest examples that people make there, one, Elysium, which was one guy working on the game by himself for 4 years. 3 examples. Undertale, which was one guy working on the game for 3 years before the Kickstarter, and then another year after.
Yeah.
And then finally, the exceptional Shovel Knight, which had $400,000. But then you got to remember, they're like, and look, they released bonus characters. Yeah, and that extra character cost that company $1 million out of their own pocket.
Yeah. Aren't the levels in Shovel Knight procedural? Or am I thinking of another game?
You're thinking of a different game.
I'm thinking of a different game.
Different game.
And then, okay, so never mind.
But yeah, like that's the thing. It's different for every company. It's different for every developer. Every situation's different.
Yeah.
Some of these folks, like Undertale, only published on Steam.
I think Concept's problem is they were in this weird place between a scrappy upstart and a B or A tier developer. They had 2-3 dozen people on their team and about $4 million to work with, plus whatever was it silver?
Deep Silver.
Was fronting them, and that it was this weird intersection of indie / published title, and it was like you gotta be in one lane or the other, and that is the problem because they kept overreaching and overpromising.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. Like I said, I think that Mighty Number 9 is just fine. It's not worth 30. On 20. I don't feel like I've been cheated out of my 20. But I'd say that the perfect price point for Mighty Number 9 is $15.
And there you have it. All right, guys. That's it for us this week.
Wait a minute. Don't we have one special thing to give away to them this week?
How could I forget one special thing? Show them what it is, Pete.
We got something real special for you viewers today. We got one copy of the Odin Sphere Leif Reiser art book.
Hold that up so they can see.
Look at this beautiful book. Look at some of these illustrations.
Odin Sphere.
Look at that. That's pretty.
Vanillaware. These guys are infamous and famous for their amazing art design.
Dragons.
Incredibly stylized and just sleek and sexy. It makes makes me jealous of their aesthetic.
That. The
I
point
love
is, we have a copy of the art book that we're going to give away to one viewer. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to like, you're going to have to subscribe, you're going to have to leave a comment. And I think that they should tell us what they think about the Street Fighter V story mode this week.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah. Let us know, and we'll randomly pick a comment in the winner, and we'll ship this to you as soon as we can.
All right, guys. That's it for us for real this time. This week on A Zenny Saved. And as always, play hard.
And save your Zenny.
Peace.